Hello, fellow book nerds. This is Gabby, and today we're talking about most anticipated releases for January and February 2023. So, usually every month I did like a monthly roundup of all the books I'm excited about, but then it ended up being quite a lot of them, and not all of them I actually like. I wanted, like, they all sounded interesting, but there wasn't really a world when I was gonna read all of them. So I thought, let's rejig this, do this every 2 months, talk about 2 months at a time, and then read it throughout the month, whatever. You're gonna get all the reviews as per usual. But then I also want to make a vlog at the end where I read all the anticipated releases of the month I didn't get to read. So I think that makes it a little bit more fun. I'm gonna read the books that I'm talking about, and I'm going to be a bit more selective about what I bring to you. So I think it's kind of a win-win, and I'm excited about it. The way we'll do it is we have 5 books per month. So overall we're going to talk about 10 books. So hopefully you get something for yourself, and I hope it to be a variety of genres. I mean, if you don't know me, you know I love my fantasy, I love my thrillers, I love my horror, I love my thrillers. I've already said it. I love many books. So hopefully you get something diverse and you can read along with me and have fun and figure out what we want to, read. As per usual, many exciting books coming out. Offers are popping off already in 2023. So I'm very excited, and let's talk about January. So in January, the first book that I'm really excited for is Song of Silver, Flame Like Night by Amélie Zhao. So this was coming out on 3rd of January, and it's a YA high fantasy. The cover looked amazing, and it's an Asian fantasy, I think inspired by mythology, and we learned in 2022 that's my kryptonite. It will be my favorite book of the year every year. So we have to find more of these and read them so I can bring you the recs. So that's why I'm so excited about this one. The cover's absolutely gorgeous, and I think I'm just gonna love it. But you probably actually want to know what it's about, so let's read the synopsis. In a fallen kingdom, one girl carries the key to discovering the secrets of her nation's past and unleashing the demons that sleep at its heart. An epic fantasy series inspired by the mythology of folklore of ancient China. Once, Lan had a different name. Now she goes by the one the nation colonizers gave her when they invaded her kingdom, killed her mother, and outlawed her people's magic. She spends her nights as a song girl in Gong, a city transformed by the conquerors, and her days scavenging for what she can find of the past. Anything to understand the strange mark burned into her arm by her mother in her last act before she died. The mark is mysterious, an untranslatable hidden character, and no one but Lan can see it. Until the night a boy appears at her tea house and saves her life. Zen is a practitioner, one of the fabled magicians of the Last Kingdom. Their magic was rumored to have been drawn from the demons they communed with. I was doing so well. Their magic was rumored to have been drawn from the demons they communed with. Magic believed to be long lost. Now it must be hidden from the Elatians at all costs. When Zen comes across Lan, he recognizes what she is, a practitioner with a powerful ability hidden in the mark on her arm. He's never seen anything like it, but he knows that if there are answers, they lie deep in the pine forests and misty mountains of the Last Kingdom, with an order of practicing masters planning to overthrow the Elatian regime. Both Lan and Zen have secrets buried deep within, secrets they must hide from others, and secrets that they themselves have yet to discover. Fate has connected them, but their destiny remains unwritten. Both hold the power to liberate their land, and both hold the power to destroy the world. We love a good story about destroying colonizers, so there you go. Next book, I've been waiting and grown old and waited some more and got 2 jobs and waited some more. Okay, so Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo is finally coming out in January. Can you believe it? It's coming out on 10th of January, and it's an adult urban fantasy, and it's part of the Alex Stern series, and it's book 2, so it's the sequel to Ninth House. By the way, I feel like Hellbent, Ninth House, such cool names, and then Alex Stern is the name of the series. I have questions. I'm not gonna tell you the synopsis for this because I don't want to spoil whatever happened in the book one. But in book one, we have a girl called Alex Stern who had some kind of accident, and since then she can see dead people or ghosts, or I think that's what she can see. I think she can see ghosts. So she gets recruited into, I want to say Yale, but I think it might be Harvard. One of them. A very prestigious university. She gets recruited and gets to become part of like these underground societies that happen there, that commune with magic and use magic to their advantage. But she is kind of an outsider brought in because she actually can see ghosts. So that's kind of her thing. And then there's like a mystery going on and you have to discover what's happening. It's really good. I love Ninth House. I like Leigh Bardugo, I like her work, but Ninth House is probably my favorite. I just thought it was so good, and I'm very excited for Hellbent. The cover gives me heebie-jeebies, but you know what? You just kind of have to go with it sometimes. So I guess I'm gonna have it on my shelves looking at me. It's gonna be disturbing, but we're gonna have fun. Next book is The Daughters of Izdihar by Hadeer Elsbai. So this one's coming out on 10th of January, and it's an LGBT adult fantasy sci-fi. And I've been trying to get more into adults, so I feel like these lists used to be a lot of YA, and I myself want to transition more into an adult reader. So I'm looking for new adult, like actual adult releases. So I was so happy to find this. I mean, fantasy sci-fi adult, and I think the author is Middle Eastern, if I'm not wrong. Hadeer Elsbai. Egyptian, okay. The author is Egyptian American. So I thought it just sounded absolutely amazing, and this is the synopsis. As a water weaver, Nehal can move and shape any water to her will, but she's limited by her lack of formal education. She desires nothing more than to attend the newly opened Weaving Academy, take complete control of her powers, and pursue a glorious future on the battlefield with the first all-female military regiment. But her family cannot afford to let her go. Crushed under her father's gambling debt, Nahal is forcibly married into a wealthy merchant family. Her new spouse, Nico, is indifferent and distant and in love with another woman, a bookseller named Georgina. Georgina has her own secret, however. She is an earth weaver with dangerously uncontrollable powers. She has no money and no prospects. Well, hello, Jane Austen. Her only solace comes from her activities with Daughters of Izdihar, a radical women's rights group at the forefront of a movement with a simple goal: to attain recognition for women to have a say in their own lives. They live very different lives and come from very different means, yet Nahal and Georgina have more in common than they think. The cause, and Nico, brings them into each other's orbit, drawn in by the group's enigmatic leader Malak Mamdouh, and the urge to do what is right. But their problems may seem small in the broader context of their world, as tensions are rising with a neighboring nation that desires an end to weaving and weavers. As Nahal and Georgina fight for their rights, the threat of war looms in the background, and the two women find themselves struggling to earn and keep a lasting freedom. Book 4, I'm very excited because it's an author that I've really enjoyed in the past. So it's called How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. So it's coming out 17th of January, and it's an adult horror novel. And Grady Hendrix is the author of things like The Last Girl Support Group, something like that. My Best Friend's Exorcism, A Horror Story, I think, is by him as well. Starter Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. He's wrote many cool books, and they're all horror, and I really enjoyed many of them. So I'm excited for this new one. When their parents die at the tail end of the coronavirus pandemic, Louise and Mark Joyner are devastated, but nothing can prepare them for how bad things are about to get. The two siblings are almost totally estranged and couldn't be more different. Now, however, they don't have a choice but to get along. The virus has passed, but both of them are facing bank accounts ravaged by the economic meltdown. Their one asset? Their childhood home. They need to get it on the market as soon as possible because they need the money. Yet before their parents died, they taped newspapers over the mirrors and nailed shut the attic door. Sometimes we feel like puppets, controlled by our upbringing and our genes. Sometimes we feel like our parents treat us like toys or playthings or even dolls. The past can ground us, teach us, and keep us safe. It can also trap us and bind us and suffocate the life out of us. As disturbing events stack up in the house, Louise and Mark have to learn that sometimes the only way to break away from the past, sometimes the only way to sell a haunted house, is to burn it down. So I'm excited for the haunted house. I just think it's gonna be fun, and I love his titles. They're always so fun and quirky, and he's kind of fun and quirky, and I'm not really fun and quirky, but I enjoy things that are. And then the last book for January is Chain of Thorns by Cassandra Clare. It's coming out on the 31st of January, and it's a YA paranormal fantasy, and it's the conclusion. Is it The Last Hours? I don't know what the series is called. There's too much going on with Cassandra Clare. I mean, she's great, and I got to watch her interview in YALC, which is like a young adult literature convention in Comic-Con in UK. So I got to see her speak about this book, and that got me really excited. So I'm like looking forward to it. But yeah, it's the last book, and in this series we follow children of her infernal devices characters, and it's kind of a retelling of what is that retelling of? A classic. It's about a girl who moves. Okay, so there's so much to talk about. If you know, you know. You know what? If you know, you know. I'm not gonna even go there. If you know, you know. Chain of Thorns. There's gonna be a spoiler-filled vlog. Come for it. I'm gonna talk all the spoilers. But here, I don't even know how to touch it because there's too much to talk about. Alright, February. Time to talk about some February books. So, the first book I'm really excited for is Wildblood by Lauren Blackwood. And this one's coming out on 7th of February. And it's a YA fantasy romance. And it's the same author that wrote, oh my god, what is it called? Within These Wicked Walls, which I really enjoyed. And I thought that another book from the author is going to be just as good. 18-year-old Victoria is a wildblood. Kidnapped at the age of 6 and manipulated by Exotic Lands Touring Company, she's worked as a tour guide ever since with a team of fellow wildbloods who take turns using their magic to protect travelers in a Jamaican jungle teeming with ghostly monsters. When the boss denies Victoria an earned promotion to team leader in favor of Dean, her backstabbing ex, she's determined to prove herself. Her magic might be the most powerful on the team, but she's not the image the boss wants to send their new client, Thorn, a renowned gold miner determined to reach an untouched gold supply in the jungle. Thorn is everything Victoria isn't, confident, impossibly kind, and so handsome he leaves her speechless. And when he entrusts the mission to her, kindness turns to mutual respect, turns to affection, turns to love. But the jungle is treacherous, and between hypnotic rivers, spirits, soul-devouring women that shed their skin like snakes, and her ex out for revenge, Victoria has to decide. Is promotion at a corrupt company really what she wants? Alright, I'm already gonna have notes. So I love the relationship in Within These Wicked Walls, which is kind of a retelling of Jane Eyre. But it was really insta-love. And considering this synopsis already tells me that they're gonna go from enemies to lovers, I disapprove. Don't tell me in the synopsis, bro. Make me work for it. Make me work for it a little bit. Jesus Christ. But otherwise, it sounds really fun. I'm excited to be in the Jamaican jungle, and I think it's gonna be really fun. Okay, next book has the coolest cover. It's called 7 Faceless Saints by M.K. Lobb. So it's coming out on 7th of February as well, and it's an LGBT YA fantasy. I just thought the cover looked really cool. And that's that. But this is the synopsis. In the city of Umbrasia, saints and their disciples rule with terrifying and unjust power, playing favorites while the unfavored struggle to survive. After her father's murder at the hands of the Umbrasian military, Rosanna Lacertosa is willing to do whatever it takes to dismantle the corrupt system. Tapping into her powers as a disciple of patience, joining rebellion and facing the boy who broke her heart. As the youngest captain in the history of Palazzo Security, Damien Venturi is expected to be ruthless and strong, and to serve the saints with unquestioning devotion. But 3 years spent fighting in a never-ending war have left him with deeper scars than he wants to admit, and a fear of confronting the girl he left behind. Now a murderer stalks Umbrasia's citizens. As the body count climbs, the Palazzo is all too happy to look the other way. That is, until a disciple becomes the newest victim. With every lead turning into a dead end, Damien and Ross must team up, find the killer, even if it means digging up buried emotions. As they dive into the underbelly of Umbrasia, the pair will discover something more sinister and far less holy. With darkness closing in and time running out, will they be able to save the city from an evil so powerful that it threatens to destroy everything in its path? Exciting! It's all so exciting! Which is apparently my catchphrase. Thanks, Tati. Victory of Salman Rushdie. What? Wait, no. Victory City by Salman Rushdie is coming out on the 7th of February, and it's also an adult historical fantasy. I'm a historical fantasy girly, and I love it, and it's adult, and I'm so excited. I think this is going to be really cool. But this is the synopsis. In the wake of an insignificant battle between two long-forgotten kingdoms in 14th century southern India, a 9-year-old girl has a divine encounter that will change the course of history. After witnessing the death of her mother, the grief-stricken Pampa Campana becomes a vessel of the goddess Parvati, who begins to speak out of a girl's mouth. Granting her powers beyond Pampa Campana's comprehension, the goddess tells her that she will be instrumental in the rise of a great city called Bisnaga, literally Victory City, the wonder of the world. Over the next 250 years, Pampa Campana life becomes deeply interwoven with Bisnaga's. From its literal sewing out of the bag of magic seeds to its tragic ruination in the most human of ways, the hubris of those in power. Whispering Bisnaga and its citizens into existence, Pampa Campana attempts to make good on the task that Parvati set for her, to give women equal agency in the patriarchal world. But all stories have a way of getting away from their creator, and Bisnaga is no exception. As years pass, rulers come and go, battles are won and lost, allegiances shift, the very fabric of Bisnaga becomes an even more complex tapestry, with Pampa Campana at its center. Brilliantly styled as a translation of an ancient epic, this is a saga of love, adventure, and myth that is in itself a testament to the power of storytelling. Okay, I know I struggled to read the synopsis, but there's many big words and I'm not that smart. But it does sound really fun and I am very excited for it. It sounds really epic and I love like long spanning stories that take up, centuries. I just think that'll be so fun. So I'm very excited for it. Okay, then we have A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon. So this one's coming out on 28th of February and it's a LGBT adult fantasy and it's a prequel to her book Priory of the Orange Tree, which is a mammuthian-sized book. I don't even know if that makes sense, but it's very big. Very, very, very big. And this one's just as big, so I don't know when I'll read it. I'll be like spending months trying to read it, but we're gonna have fun doing it and it's gonna be great. Tunuva Melim is a sister of the Priory. For 50 years, she has trained to slay worms, but none have appeared since the Nameless One, and the younger generation is starting to question the Priory's purpose. To the north, in the Queendom of Innis, Sabran the Ambitious has married the new king of Hroth, narrowly saving both realms from ruin. Their daughter, Glorian, trails in their shadow, exactly where she wants to be. The dragons of the east have slept for centuries. Dumai has spent her life in Seikini's mountain temple, trying to wake the gods from their long slumber. Now, someone from her mother's past is coming to upend her fate. When the Dreadmount erupts, bringing with it an age of terror and violence, these women must find the strength to protect humankind from a devastating threat. I know that doesn't tell you much, doesn't even tell me much. I've read Priory of the Orange Tree when it came out, which is like years ago. So I don't really remember it, but we'll have fun, I'm sure. Everything will just go over my head while I'm gonna have fun while doing it, so it's fine. Alright, and the last book, we have a novella shout out at the end, but the last full novel that I'm excited about is Delicious Monsters by Liselle Sambury. And that's what's coming out on 28th of February, and it's a YA horror. It looks exciting because Daisy sees dead people. Something impossible to forget in bustling ghost-packed Toronto. She usually manages to deal with her unwanted ability, but she's completely unprepared to be dumped by her boyfriend. So when her mother inherits a secluded mansion in northern Ontario, where she spends her childhood summers, Daisy jumps on the chance to escape. But the house is nothing like Daisy expects, and she begins to realize that her experience with the supernatural might be no match for her mother's secrets, nor what nor what lurks within these walls. A decade later, Brittany is desperate to get out from under the thumb of her abusive mother, a best-selling author who claims her stay at Miracle Mansion allowed her to see the error of her ways. But Brittany knows that's nothing but a sham. She decides the new season of her popular haunted web series will uncover what happened to the young black girl in the mansion 10 years prior and finally expose her mother's lies. But as she gets more wrapped up in the investigation, she'll have to decide. If she can only bring one story to light, which one matters most? Daisy's or her own? As Brittany investigates the mansion in the present, Daisy's story runs parallel in the past, both timelines propelling the girls to face the most dangerous monsters of all, those that hide in plain sight. I love it because I love dual timelines. I hate that crap. I just eat it up. It's so much fun. Okay, the last thing I wanted to mention is a novella shout out. So there's a novella that's coming out that I'm really excited about. It's called Last Violent Call. So it's coming out on February 28th, and it's the novella to Foul Lady Fortune. So it's like Foul Lady Fortune 1.5. So there's no synopsis. I'm not gonna read it either because I don't want to spoil myself for this one because I'm not ready yet. But I think it's gonna be so much fun, and I am very excited. It's also I guess a parallel series that runs with These Violent Delights, which is a retelling of Romeo and Juliet set in Shanghai 1920s. So if you're excited, if you're interested, go check out that one. But those are all the books I wanted to talk to you about. These are all the ones coming out in February, January that I'm excited about. I'm gonna read all of these, so subscribe right now so that you don't miss out on all of that fun, because I'm gonna talk about them. You're gonna see if they're actually worth it. If you want to read it in parallel to me, there you go. I told you what I'll be reading for the next 2 months. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know which book you're most excited for, whether it was on this list or not. Just let me know what you're excited for. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you could comment, like, and subscribe, I really appreciate it. It really helps me out. But that's it from me, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!